What's up guys, Wayne back here with you. Sorry about not getting a video out last week. I was able to play twice though, one of those sessions you're seeing today, so should definitely be able to post a little bit more consistently, so stay tuned for that. This session we get into some pretty big hands. Some of the lessons or advice I've given the past couple episodes definitely comes to fruition here in this episode, so stick around to the end for that and let's get into it. All right, we are back at Lake Elsinore Casino, or the lake as it's referred to by the locals here, and we're in for our usual 300. So we're pretty card dead at the beginning of the session. We looked down at King, Queen, Jack 2, single suited to the king on the button and decided to limp. The big blind decided to make it 20. There's a couple callers. I call, and we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes 8-3-2 rainbow, and one of the players bets half pot, $40, and I go ahead and fold. So here we look down at Queen, Queen, Jack 8, single suited to the queen in the cutoff. There's one limper, and I go ahead and make it 25. So the button, both blinds, and the limper call, so we're going 5 ways to a flop. Flop comes 9-8-5, 2 diamonds, which not the worst flop, but when one of the players leads for 50 and there's a call, I decide to fold, pick a better spot. If there wasn't diamonds out there, I'd be a little bit more likely to go with it, but I decided to fold. So here we look down at Ace, Ace, King 10, double suited, under the gun limps, and we raise it to 25. We get 4 callers, so we're going 5 ways to a flop of 7-5-3, 2 diamonds. When it checks to me, I go ahead and check, and the player behind me immediately bets 75. There's one caller, and despite the fact that the SPR is less than 1 on this board, I really can't do anything besides fold, so that's what I do. So here we're under the gun, and we look down at Ace, King, King 4, double suited, and we make it 20. So there's 2 callers, then the cutoff decides to make it 105. So the button folds, but then the small blind makes it $400 or $120 effective for my stack, and I have an interesting decision here. So I did think about it for a little bit, but I just thought in the moment that I had so little money compared to the size of the pot that I just had to go with it. But let me know what you think about this one, if you would fold this one if you're sure the opponent has aces. It ended up folding back to the cutoff, who decided to go all in, so we're going 3 ways to a run out. So the flop comes Jack 9-7, 2 clubs, which is a pretty awful board obviously. The turn brings a 3 of hearts. And the river, we're going to need some help, and we do not get it with the 10 of spades. So if there was any chance I was ahead pre-flop, there's basically 0 chance I'm ahead now. The 4-better did indeed have aces with Ace, Ace, 8-6, and he showed his hand for the straight, and the cutoff mucked, and we of course lose as well. So we're rebuying 300. So we go around a couple orbits, and we look down at Ace, King, Queen 2, suited to the ace in the hijack. There's 2 limps to me. I decided to limp as well. The button also limps, and when the blinds check, we're going 6 ways to a flop. Flop comes King, Queen 2, 2 diamonds. When it checks to me, I go ahead and bet 20. Only the big blind calls, and we're going heads up to a turn. Turn brings the Jack of clubs, and he goes ahead and bets $60 into me. I believe I have way too much equity to fold. Having 3 pair plus the nut flush draw plus a 10 for a chop, I think calls are really the only play, so that's what I do. So we're going to a river, which is the beautiful 2 of spades, and he goes ahead and bets 65, which feels like a blocker type bet where he doesn't really want to get raised with his straight, and only one move to make. I go ahead and shove for 190. And he takes a little bit, but does ultimately call. We show, and we're good. So after that pot, we are getting pretty close to even. So here I look down at Ace 9, 8-5 double suited on the button in a straddle pot, and I go ahead and limp. The small blind also limps. Big blind folds. The straddler makes it 40. I call, and so does the small blind. So we're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes 7-4-2 rainbow. The small blind donk leads for 60. The straddler calls. And I believe I have a pretty clear-cut call here. I have 2 straight draws, double gutter, 2 backdoor flush draws, and a backdoor straight draw. So I go ahead and call. Turn brings one of the best cards in the deck. It's a 6 of clubs. Small blind checks. The straddler goes ahead and pots it to 310. I'm obviously going to shove here, but I take a little time Hollywooding to potentially induce a call from the small blind, and then I go ahead and shove. Small blind gets out of the way, and then the straddler, of course, calls for 150 more, and we're going to a river. River brings a 7 of spades, which is not great. Obviously, now I lose to all sets. A lot of 2-pair combos, of course. But luckily, he does say I'm good, and I show, and I take it down. So after we win that hand, we play about 2 or 3 more orbits, but don't really get much, and decide to rack up. So this session really was pretty much a combination of the last two. If you remember 2 sessions ago, I didn't win a hand until about the 3-hour mark, and that was about pretty much the same thing here. The last session, I made a point to recommend the number one thing in PLO is less is more. So really those 2 things combined, perfectly shown here in this session. And I could have even taken my advice even a little bit more. You know, that one hand with double suited kings where I open up under the gun and I get 3 and 4 bet, really wasn't a great call. I mean, the 3 better's pretty loose, so he's capable of mixing it up with a lot of things there in late position, but the player in the small blind, he's pretty solid, so he's not really going to do that ever without aces. So probably should have just folded, but you know, you live and you learn. So I was in the game for 600. I was out for 1172, so $572 profit, not bad. So that's a wrap on this one, guys. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like and subscribe button. If your viewing experience could have been better, please let me know how down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.